Hello, happy stampers, and welcome to my happy stamping studio. My name is Judy Anderson from judystamps.com, and I am hoping to inspire you in your everyday paper crafting. So, welcome back to this week's free class, and we are going to be using this shimmery white embossing paste. I've had some people asking me how to use it, some different ideas, so I thought I'd give you an idea today. So you will need also the, I don't have my small one here. Hang on a second. These paste spatulas also. And I like using this smaller one here for this technique today. So you get three. You get this palette knife and then this wider one, which I use with stencils, and then this one, which we're going to be using today. And today I'm going to be using it with an embossing folder. And hang on a second, I'm getting warm, so I'm going to take off my flannel shirt. And I'm going to be using the Painted Tree 3D embossing folder. And this is a beautiful folder that is offered in our mini catalog that's through September through December. And I just love the detail you get with this embossing folder. So I thought, let's do it with that. I am going to do some stamping, and for my stamping, I'm going to be using the Winterly Treetops stamp set. So in addition to that, I'm going to be using a blending brush. I am going to be using our basic beige ink pad, our Mossy Meadow ink pad, and my craft white ink pad. So a couple things here, and we'll be using a little bit of an aqua painter and maybe a sponge dauber just to get the effects that I want with this embossing folder and this paste. I'm going to set all this stuff to the side because it's a lot of stuff today. This is quite I would think, I say beginners can do this also. So we're going to use 3 pieces of cardstock. We have basic beige as our card base. We have Mossy Meadow as our layer, and then we have a piece of basic beige here for our piece that's going to be embossed. So we're going to emboss that first. So let me get my cut and emboss machine out. We have it right here. And for our 3D embossing folders, we need our plate number 1 and then our plate number 4, and that's it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my embossing folder. Sorry, this is so close. Let me raise this up just a little bit. There we go. So I am going to just line it up here, and you know which way is top. The Stampin' Up is on top. And so I'm going to line it up to get the look that I want. And go here. I'm going to make sure it's straight. Put in the folded edge first. Place this on your 1 plate. Take your 4 plate and just run it through. And now this should go through just like butter. If it doesn't, you have the wrong sandwich. Don't go all the way through because you will ruin your embossing folder and possibly crack it at the seam. I know some people have said, oh, my embossing folder's cracking. What's causing that? And it's because your sandwich is too tight. Okay, so this is the emboss. Isn't it gorgeous? I just love this. I'm going to lower this back down so you guys can see what I'm doing. And next, I'm going to be taking my basic beige ink and my blending brush. I'm going to ink this up a little bit. And I just want this tone on tone. I just want this to be a slight color on here just to bring out those trees just a little bit. So I'm going to go around the outside of my trees and in between them. Not covering the entire background, just kind of going along those edges of the trees. And it's very light. And I'll bring it up and see how it's very, very light, but you can see that there's no color up in here, no color up in this area. You could do this as light or dark as you want. I think that this is pretty good. I'm going to do just along this edge, just a little bit more. Otherwise, I think my edges are good. Next, we are going to take our basic white. And I am doing this just to highlight these trees a little bit so that they stand out. And I am going to be taking my aqua or my water brush painter. I'm taking the wide one. So I'm going to squeeze this just like that and get some water in there. I'm going to squeeze my ink pad. I don't have quite enough ink up in there. So I want some ink here, and I'm going to pick up some white ink. And I don't want it real runny, but I don't want it too thick. And I'm just going to take this and kind of brush back and forth on my tree branches. I'm not going to get all of them, and that's okay. And you will see when I am done that they actually look whiter, like they have snow on them. Okay. This is a really fun technique. And you can use, you could use really any color to do this. You could use a regular classic ink pad, but I wanted white because this is going to be a winter card. Now I am making this for a friend. I could make it a Christmas card, and these would be some awesome Christmas cards to make. What I would do is I would just do it in steps. I would do my embossing one day, and then while I'm watching TV, I can color them and just put that color up there. Now, you could even see it now, but look at that. See how it just highlighted those trees. Okay, so that is dry. And so next what I'm going to do, now this white craft pad is a pigment ink. So it does take a little bit longer to dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up my paste. And when you're going to notice, when I store my paste, I store it upside down. This paste goes on and on forever. I keep the film on here, that foil film, and you're going to see that there is some paste on this lid. Now that paste is enough to do what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape some paste off of the lid, and then I'm just going to scrape that onto my embossed portion of my trees. Okay, if you feel that you need some more paste, pick some up. If you run out of paste here, what I do is I dip it right down in here, and then I wipe it off in that lid. Okay, you want paste on here, but you don't want too much because you don't want it to glob up. All you're wanting to do is get that little bit of shimmer, and it adds texture to your card. I do this side, and then I turn it over around. I flip it, and I do the other half. And I'm looking here, and you really don't see the shimmer yet, but you will see it. I will lift this card up, and then you will see the shimmer on here. I love the texture this gives. It gives it like a snowy effect, and that glistening in the sun that the snow does, especially here in the Midwest. We've lucked out. We haven't had much cold weather yet this year. Getting the rain that we're missing from the summer, though, which I am happy for my garden. You guys all know that I love gardening. Okay, so I take this and I clean it right away. And I normally take like a baby wipe, a hand wipe. I don't have one handy, so I have an alcohol prep wipe here. And I wipe that off immediately so that that paste doesn't stick on there. If you forget and it sticks, you need to scrape it off. But this makes it so much easier for cleanup. Then to seal this up, you want to push that back down. You want to screw this on tight and then store it upside down. Okay, let's see if we can see the shimmer. Oh, there you go. See that shimmer on these trees? So pretty. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and while that's drying a little bit, because we need to let that dry, I'm going to stamp the inside of my card. And so for the inside of the card, I am going to stamp this image right here. Like I said, this is going to be for a friend. Just going to stamp this right here. I don't have to color this. I can just leave it as is. If you wanted to color the berries, you could. There we go. But remember that this is a water-based ink. You could use your blending pen and the white ink and just dab some white on here. In fact, I'll show you how to do that. I've done that before. So I'm going to squeeze this to get some more ink in that lid. I'm just going to take this blender. And now this is a blending pen. It's not the Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to pick up some color. And it's not going to show a whole lot. And as it dries, it's going to show even less. But when you color this, you want to dab it on. You don't want to go back and forth because you will pick up that green. And you don't want to pick up that green. And I would suggest if you want it whiter, to let it dry a little bit and then go back and put some more ink on there. But this is going to be enough just to highlight those berries a little bit. So can you see that? Just a little touch of white. Take your blending pen and you're going to wipe it off to get all that white ink off of there. Okay, until it comes out clear. And then we'll put the lid on it and it's done. Oops. There we go, it flipped off. Okay, so I'm going to put the Friend Like You Brings Me Happiness on the front. So on the inside, I'm going to be doing Thinking of You Always. We love to think of our friends, don't we? And let them know that we're thinking of them. Sending them a little smile in the mail. There we go. Okay, so then for the front of our card, I'm going to need a paper strip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment first. I'm just going to stamp it on here. And there we go. I'm going to get out my mini trimmer. It's in the drawer and I can't get to it. So I've got my cut and emboss machine there. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to just put it in. And this is about an inch. Cut that way. And then it is going to be 3 5/8 inches long. Okay, just to get that. Now, I you know what? I don't want quite that much room. So I'm going to trim off 1/4 of an inch. So I think 3/4 of an inch is too tight. So we go up 1/16 here and give it a cut. Okay, I like trimming my sentiments in that manner. Okay, so we have our card base. So we fold it in half, burnish that score line. We're going to go ahead and add this piece to our mossy meadow. Grab my glue. And I am not going to use dimensionals on this part. I will probably add my sentiment with dimensionals. I'm going to put this on. This is a very natural looking card. Okay, I'm going to grab some mossy meadow here. I just decided, I don't think I want to go all the way over that. So I think I'm going to do something like this. So I will trim that real quick here. And I am going to trim it down so it's narrower, and there is a reason for that. Or no, I'm going to leave it that long. So what did I say this was? This was 3.5. So we're going to do 4.5 here. But before I assemble this, I'm going to grab my basic beige ribbon. And this is the bordered ribbon. And you're going to see that I've got some color on this side of this. If I bring it up close, you can see it's got some mossy meadow on it. I use my blender pen for that. So it's the light mossy meadow, and I just take it out, and the bullet tip, I just color along, holding that ribbon. Now you can use your Stampin' Right marker. If you use your Stampin' Right marker, you want to make sure that it dries well before you start handling it, because that's water-based and it will come off on your fingers, especially if your fingers are sweaty. We don't want that. So I've just got a piece that's long enough to go around my card base if I want. Trim that off. Okay, so this is like this. I know that I want this down here like this. And I had done this, and I don't know. You're not going to see much of it this way, but I'm going to put it on anyways. So grab my tear and tape. You know I like to use tear and tape for this. It's 2 pieces. And we are going to put it down along here. I could have used I used the light Stampin' Blend. I could have used the dark. Actually, I think it would have shown up a little bit better. So I just want a small border on that bottom. I'm going to fold this over, take my tear and tape, and tape it down like I'm using regular old tape. Take this across, making sure it's straight. Do the same on this side. Okay, so I'm going to rub that really good. Then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool and lift that up. So let me know where you're watching from, friends. Let me know, has it snowed in your area? I know some of my stamping friends have told me that it snowed by them already. I don't know. My son is born in November, and my firstborn. And we used to always tell him, he'd always ask us, when's my birthday? When's my birthday, Mama? And I would tell him, oh, your birthday isn't until the first snow, after it snows. Well, I can't tell him that anymore. Well, first of all, he's 47. Well, he's going to be 47 in a couple of weeks. And I can't tell him that anymore because we don't always have snow. Okay, I'm trying to decide how I want this. I do want it layered on there so you can see that. So I'm going to take, and I've got some ends of my Stampin' Dimensionals, which I want to use. Oops, these are cut apart, so I don't want to use that one. Oh, I've used a lot of my ends up already. I use every inch of my Stampin' Dimensionals. How about you guys? Every little inch of those. And I'm always grabbing for these sides for my strips, just like this. So I am going to put this on just like that. And I'm going to put it so that it is above that ribbon just a little bit. Okay, so I'm making the bottom thicker. I was going to go over the ribbon, but I think the ribbon's hidden too much. And then I am going to put some adhesive on my mossy meadow here. So I'm not quite sure. I'm going to bring this down so it overlaps both that mossy meadow strip and the ribbon. So by putting my adhesive on that mossy meadow, I know I'm not getting it behind there and ruining that last bit of getting glue all over, or glue showing up. So this is my card. Can you see the sparkles? Now, I could do more sparkle here, and how I can do that is I can take my Wink of Stella, squeeze out some Wink of Stella. Oh, I'm out. Well, I don't know if I'm going to get much out. And then just spackle it like this. And like I said, I don't have much in here. Okay, pick that up and just spackle that. And you'll get like little snowflakes. You can also do the same with your white craft pad and your water painter. So we've got a little bit of sparkle up there. Let's add a couple of these. I've got some iridescent faceted gems. I want to add a couple small ones to this card also. I love cards that sparkle. Snow sparkles, right? So we're going to put some snowflakes on this card. Like this. There we go. So that adds just a little bit more to our card. And you can't quite see, but it is really shimmery, you guys. Let me see if I do it that way. Oh, you can see a little bit more on those trees, the blues and the greens and that sparkle. It's a gorgeous card, easy card for everyone to create, and just some easy stamping on the inside. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you give it a try. Take out your shimmery white paste and play with it a little bit. Until we meet again, everyone.